and it's like 33 minutes, and that's when we start reading. So, should I just go ahead and start it off, or?
I think I can go ahead and do it because I did not get
Okay.
to finish it off with you guys.
I didn't recap it very well last time. So, last time we're at a point where Victor and the creature have faced off against each other. Now Victor is being kind of held against his will with the threat against his family from the creature, because the creature's like lonely and in anguish because nobody can relate to him. He's this ugly thing. Everyone views him as ugly with their prejudice, and he's like, make me someone I can live with. So he wants a mate. And so, but Victor is like, nah. And then, so now there's a big old conflict. But right now, Victor at this isolated region that he's in, right, like near Ireland, right? I think.
I think
right?
so. Either
I think he's
Ireland or
near Ireland
Scotland.
right
I'm
now.
looking to see.
He's like traveling around for a while, but he ended up
Yes.
at like a little structure or castle or something. I don't know if it was like a castle he was hiding out at in Ireland to do his work, and then he threw it away like right in front of the creature, and they both kind of freaked out on each other. But he ended up going out to sea, right? To get rid of the body parts or something, right?
Yep.
And then he got found out by a village nearby, so he's being taken into the magistrate to explain all this stuff, perhaps. And they're framing him. They're suspicious of him because there was a murder recently in the village. So that's where we're at, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Enough of this.
Now we're caught up. Does that sound right, Mauricio?
Just about.
Okay. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Then without further ado, Fudge Superior, my friend.
Huzzah!
Oh.
Chapter 4. I was soon introduced into the presence of the magistrate, an old, benevolent man with calm and mild manners. He looked upon me, however, with some degree of severity, and then, turning towards my conductors, he asked who appeared as witness on this occasion. About half a dozen men came forward, and one being selected by the magistrate, he deposed that he had been out fishing the night before with his son and brother-in-law, Daniel Nugent, when, about 10 o'clock, they observed a strong northerly blast rising, and they accordingly put in for port. It was a very dark night, as the moon had not yet risen. They did not land at the harbor, but, as they had been accustomed, at the creek about 2 miles below. He walked on first, carrying a part of the fishing tackle, and his companions followed him at some distance. As he was proceeding along the sands, he struck his foot against something and fell all his length to the ground. His companions came up to assist him, and by the light of their lantern, they found that he had fallen on the body of a man who was, to all appearance, dead. Their first supposition was that it was the corpse of some person who had been drowned and was thrown on shore by the waves, but upon examination, they found that the clothes were not wet, and even that the body was not then cold. They instantly carried it to a cottage of an old woman near the spot, and endeavored, but in vain, to restore it to life. He appeared to be a handsome young man, about 25 years of age. He had apparently been strangled, for there was no sign of any violence, except the black mark of fingers on his neck.
Who's
Poker
next?
time!
Yeah, we're gonna... Before the stream started, Fudge and I were waiting for Baljeet, and we started playing poker in Discord, and then Baljeet joined in, and then we're like, well, what if we do like a paragraph, and then like do a round of poker, and then do another paragraph.
Got no
I
one
think
to
we're
hold
gonna
him.
do all the reading this time. I think that's an experiment for another night.
Yeah.
Let's do that experiment post Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Or perhaps if we do it on our private reads, I don't know.
yeah.
Who's that make next? Is that me? I guess?
I think
or is
it's
it
you.
Balji?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's you.
The first part of this deposition did not in the least interest me, but when the mark of the fingers was mentioned, I remembered the murder of my brother, and I felt extremely agitated. My limbs trembled, and a mist came over my eyes, which obliged me to lean on a chair for support. The magistrate observed me with a keen eye, and of course drew an unfavorable augury from my manner. Augury? Augury? Should look that up. Even though it's probably going to be like the one time that this word is mentioned in the book, I want to know for my sake.
Ogre.
Augury?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Say it one more time.
I'm gonna look it up.
Augury.
Is it augury?
Augury.
Augury.
Wait, hold on.
A sign of what will happen in the future, an omen.
Whoops.
Uh,
I accidentally closed the music. Is it still good for you guys?
No, it is.
Okay, got it. The son confirmed his father's account, but when Daniel Nugent was called, he swore positively that just before the fall of his companion, he saw a boat with a single man in it at a short distance from the shore. As far as he could judge by the light of a few stars, it was the same boat which I had just landed. Should I keep going? They're short paragraphs.
Yeah.
yeah, I think like one more would be good.
Okay. A woman deposed that she lived near the beach and was standing at the door of her cottage, waiting for the return of the fisherman, about an hour before she heard the discovery of the body. When she saw a boat, with only one man in it, push off from that part of the shore where the corpse was afterwards found.
Another woman confirmed the account of the fisherman having brought the body into her house. It was not cold. They put it into a bed and rubbed it, and Daniel went to the town for an apothecary, but life was quite gone. Several other men were examined concerning my landing, and they agreed that with the strong north wind that had arisen during that night, it was very probable that I had beaten about for many hours and had been obliged to return nearly to the same spot from which I had departed. Besides, they observed that it appeared that I had brought the body from another place, and it was likely that as I did not appear to know the shore, I might have put into the harbor, ignorant of the distance of the town of the place where I had deposited the corpse. The town of blank.
I'm a blank. All right.
Couldn't be bothered to
This-
make up a name.
Yeah, whatever. The town of whatever. Mr. Kerwin, on hearing this evidence, desired that I should be taken into the room where the body lay for interment that it might be observed what effect the sight of it would produce upon me. This idea was probably suggested by the extreme agitation I had exhibited when the mode of the murder had been described. I was accordingly conducted by the magistrate and several other persons to the inn. I could not help being struck by the strange coincidences that had taken place during this eventful night, but knowing that I had been conversing with several persons in the island I had inhabited about the time that the body had been found, I was perfectly tranquil as to the consequences of the affair.
I entered the room where the corpse lay and was led up to the coffin. How can I describe my sensations on beholding it? I feel yet parched with horror, nor can I reflect on that terrible moment without shuddering in agony. It faintly reminds me of the anguish of the recognition. The trial, the presence of the magistrate and witnesses passed like a dream from my memory, when I saw the lifeless form of Henry Clerval stretched before me. Oh, we knew that was going to happen, too.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big
I
fucking
gasped
oof.
for breath,
Uh-huh.
and throwing myself onto the body, I exclaimed, "Have my murderous machinations deprived you also, my dearest Henry, of life?" 2 I have already destroyed. Other victims await their destiny, but you, Clerval, my friend, my benefactor. The human frame could no longer support the agonizing suffering that I endured, and I was carried out of the room in strong convulsions.
Ooh.
A fever succeeded to this. I lay for 2 months on point of death. My ravings, as I afterwards heard, were frightful. I called myself the murderer of William, of Justine, and of Clerval. Sometimes I entreated my attendants to assist me in the destruction of the fiend by whom I was tormented, and at others, I felt the fingers of the monster already grasping my neck and screamed aloud with agony and terror. Fortunately, as I spoke my native language, Mr. Kerwin alone understood me, but my gestures and bitter cries were sufficient to affright the other witnesses.
Why
did
oh
sorry.
shit.
I was like trying to press the next one. It was like it was stuck.
Do you want to do the limit? Like, what do we call like a sufficient paragraph?
So for me, when I looked at it, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was like 5 and like a little tiny bit, and then the next line. So is that like 5 on yours too for that one, or
Yes,
was that
it's 5 for me. Yeah.
Okay, then I think we said 5 last time, so you're good to go.
Yeah. If it's less than 5, we go to the next paragraph. If it's 5 exactly, then we just stay at that. I think that's best.
Yeah.
All right. Why did I not die? More miserable than man ever was before, why did I not sink into forgetfulness and rest? Death snatches away many blooming children, the only hopes of their doting parents. How many brides and youthful lovers have been one day in the bloom of health and hope, and the next a prey for worms and the decay of the tomb? Of what materials was I made that I could resist so many shocks, which, like the turning of the wheel, continually renewed the torture? But I was doomed to live, and in 2 months found myself as awaking from a dream in a prison, stretched on a wretched bed, surrounded by gaolers, turnkeys, bolts, and all the miserable apparatuses of a dungeon. It was morning, I remember. When I thus awoke to understanding, I had forgotten the particulars of what had happened, and only felt as if some great misfortune had suddenly overwhelmed me. But when I looked around and saw the barred windows and the squalidness of the room in which I was, all flashed across my memory, and I groaned bitterly. Love.
Did you?
Oh, sorry. My shit was totally muted because I was like trying not to disturb you guys. I'm so sorry.
How much of that did you read?
I almost read the whole paragraph.
Oh damn.
I was gonna say how whatever. Okay, how many times have they used countenance in this book? Was something I commented on in my muteness. Gosh. Thank you. Sorry. I had realized that we hadn't like posted this in the Reading Renegades Discord and then also in like other channels, so.
Oh wait, did you post it or do I need to post it?
I posted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I
sweet,
muted,
sweet.
because I was like typing in the background. And then I forgot to unmute. Okay. Continuing on. The sound disturbed an old woman who was sleeping in a chair beside me. She was a hired nurse, the wife of one of the turnkeys, and her countenance, how many times have they used that word? Expressed all those bad qualities which often characterize that class. The lines of her face were hard and rude, like that of persons accustomed to seeing without sympathizing in sights of misery. Her tone expressed her entire indifference, and she addressed me in English, and the voice struck me as one I heard during my sufferings. "Are you better now, sir?" said she.
I replied in the same language with a feeble voice. "I believe I am. But if it be all true, if indeed I did not dream, I am sorry that I am still alive to feel this misery and horror." "For that matter," replied the old woman, "if you mean about the gentleman you murdered, I believe that it were better for you if you were dead. For I fancy it will go hard with you, but you will be hung when the next sessions come on. However, that's none of my business. I am sent to nurse you and get you well. I do my duty with a safe conscience. If it were well if everybody did the same."
I turned with loathing from the woman who could utter so unfeeling a speech to a person just saved. On the very edge of death, but I felt languid and unable to reflect on all that had passed. The whole series of my life appeared to me as a dream. I sometimes doubted if indeed it were all true, for it never presented itself to my mind with the force of reality. As the images that floated before me became more distinct, I grew feverish. A darkness pressed around me. No one was near me who soothed me with the gentle voice of love. No dear hand supported me. The physician came and prescribed medicines, and the old woman prepared them for me, but utter carelessness was visible in the first, and the expression of brutality was strongly marked in the visage of the second. Who could be interested in the fate of a murderer but the hangman who would gain his fee?
You can still hear the music, right?
Yeah.
That's awful that she says that he feels like she's taking care of him with expressions of brutality. That's vivid, but that's awful.
Well, I guess he's feeling kind of the prejudices that are bestowed upon his own creature. Is that not right? In a way.
That's a fair
right?
point too.
These were my
It's
first
absolutely fair.
reflections. Oh, yeah? What?
Sorry, you're good. You're good. I was just saying, you're right.
These are my first reflections, but I soon learned that Mr. Kerwin had shewn me extreme kindness. He had caused the best room in the prison to be prepared for me. Wretched indeed was the best. And it was he who had provided a physician and a nurse. It is true he seldom came to see me, for although he ardently desired to relieve the sufferings of every human creature, he did not wish to be present at the agonies and miserable ravings of a murderer. He came, therefore, sometimes to see that I was not neglected, but his visits were short, and at long intervals.
When I was gradually recovering, I was seated in a chair, my eyes half open and my cheeks livid like those in death. I was overcome by gloom and misery, and often reflected I had better seek death than remain miserably pent up only to be let loose in a world replete with wretchedness. At one time, I considered whether I should not declare myself guilty and suffer the penalty of the law, less innocent than poor Justine had been. Such were my thoughts, when the door of my apartment was opened, and Mr. Kerwin entered. His countenance... We need a countenance counter.
I know.
His countenance expressed sympathy and compassion. He drew a chair close to mine, and addressed me in French.
I fear that this place is very shocking to you. Can I do anything to make you more comfortable? I thank you. All that you mention is nothing to me. On the whole earth, there is no comfort which I am capable of receiving. I know that the sympathy of a stranger can be but of little relief to one borne down as you are by so strange a misfortune. But you will, I hope, soon quit this melancholy abode, for doubtless evidence can easily be brought to free you from the criminal charge. That is my least concern. I am, by a course of strange events, become the most miserable of mortals. Persecuted and tortured as I am and have been, can death be any evil to me?
Nothing indeed could be more unfortunate and agonizing than the strange chances that have lately occurred. You were thrown, by some surprising accident, on this shore, renowned for its hospitality, seized immediately, and charged with the murder. The first sight that was presented to your eyes was the body of your friend, murdered in so unaccountable a manner and place, as it were, by some fiend across your path. As Mr. Kerwin said this, notwithstanding the agitation I endured on this retrospect of my sufferings, I also felt considerable surprise at the knowledge he seemed to possess concerning me. I suppose some astonishment was exhibited in my countenance, for Mr. Kerwin was hastened to say,
That's 3 for the chapter so far.
Hey.
LG, do you want to go for this one?
Oh, so sorry, I got lost for the countenance counter. I was like, yes. Okay, I was going to type that up. I'm putting that in the chat real quick.
Were you typing it up?
Yeah, no, I'm typing it up. 3 count. Let me spell things right. That would help. Count 10. It's right in front of me too. Count and Nance. Count the Nances.
Count Nance.
All right.
Yeah,
It was not until it. It was not until a day or two after your illness that I thought of examining your dress, that I might discover some trace by which I could send to your relations an account of your misfortune and illness. I found several letters, and among others, one which I discovered from its commencement to be from your father. I instantly wrote to Geneva. Nearly 2 months have elapsed since the departure of my letter, but you are ill. Even now you tremble. You are unfit for agitation of any kind. This suspense is 1,000 times worse than the most horrible event. Tell me, what new scene of death has been acted, and whose murder I am now to lament?
Your family is perfectly well, said Mr. Kerwin with gentleness, and someone, a friend, is come to visit you. I know not by what chain of thought the idea presented itself, but it instantly darted into my mind that the murderer had come to mock at my misery and taunt me with the death of Clerval. As a new incitement for me to comply with his hellish desires, I put my hand before my eyes and cried out in agony, "Oh, take him away. I cannot see him. For God's sakes, do not let him enter." Mr. Kerwin regarded me with a troubled countenance, for he had not helped regard my exclamation as a presumption of my guilt, and said in a rather severe tone, "I should have thought, young man, that the presence of your father would have been welcome, instead of inspiring such violent repugnance."
Repugnance, I think, right?
Yeah.
Repugnance. Whatever.
Repugnance.
4 for the countenance counter.
My father, cried I, while every feature and every muscle was relaxed from anguish to pleasure. Is it my father indeed? Is he come? How kind, how very kind! But where is he? Why does he not hasten to me? My change of manner surprised and pleased the magistrate. Perhaps he thought that my former exclamation was a momentary return of delirium, and he now instantly resumed his former benevolence. He rose and quitted the room with my nurse, and in a moment my father entered it. Nothing at this moment could have given me greater pleasure than the arrival of my father. I stretched out my hand to him and cried, "Are you safe, Elizabeth and Ernest?"
My father calmed me with assurances of their welfare, and endeavored by dwelling on these subjects so interesting to my heart to raise my desponding spirits. But he soon felt that a prison could not be the abode of cheerfulness. "What a place is this that you inhabit, my son?" he said, looking mournfully at the barred windows and wretched appearance of the room. You traveled to seek happiness, but a fatality seems to pursue you. Poor Clerval. The name of my unfortunate and murdered friend was an agitation too great to be endured by my weak state. Endured in my weak state. I shed tears.
Alas, yes, my father, replied I. Some destiny of the most horrible kind hangs over me, and I must live to fulfill it, or surely I should have died on the coffin of Henry. We were not allowed to converse for any length of time, but for the precarious state of my health rendered every precaution necessary that could ensure tranquility. Mr. Kerwin came in and insisted that my strength should not be exhausted by too much exertion. But the appearance of my father was to me like that of my good angel, and I gradually recovered my health.
As my sickness quitted me, I was absorbed by a gloomy and black melancholy that nothing could dissipate. The image of Clerval was forever before me, ghastly and murdered. More than once, the agitation into which these reflections threw me made my friends dread a dangerous relapse. Alas, why did they preserve so miserable and detested a life? It was surely that I might fulfill my destiny, which is now drawing to a close. Soon, oh, very soon, will death extinguish these throbbings and relieve me from the mighty weight of anguish that bears me to the dust, and in executing the award of justice I shall also sink to rest. Then the appearance of death was distant, although the wish was ever present to my thoughts, and I often sat for hours motionless and speechless, wishing for some mighty revolution that might bury me and my destroyer in its ruins.
The season of the assizes? Is that right? Like part of me wanted to say ass sizes, but I know that's not right.
Ass sizes.
Ass sizes. The season of the ass
Season
sizes.
of the ass sizes.
I like ass sizes.
Alright. I'm gonna get dinged on it somewhere about it, but I'm gonna keep going. The season of the ass sizes approached. I'd already been 3 months in prison, and although I was still weak and in continual danger of a relapse,
Size.
I was obliged to... Huh?
Size.
Is it a size?
Sizes.
I heard that. I heard you hit the button is like a size.
Okay, well if the button said it, I gotta say it the right way. The season of the assize approached. I'd already been 3 months in prison.
Oh, it's assizes.
And although assizes?
Yeah.
Assize.
But there's one assize and then the plural assizes.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's okay. Continue.
Okay. The season of the assizes approached. I'd already been 3 months in prison, and although I was still weak and in continual danger of a relapse, I was obliged to travel nearly 100 miles to the country town where the court was held. Mr. Kerwin charged himself with every care of collecting witnesses and arranging my defense. I was spared the disgrace of appearing publicly as a criminal, as the case was not brought before the court that decides on life and death. The grand jury rejected the bill on its being proved that I was on the Orkney Islands at the hour the body of my friend was found, and a fortnight after my removal, I was liberated from prison.
My father was enraptured on finding me freed from the vexations of a criminal charge, that I was again allowed to breathe the fresh atmosphere and allowed to return to my native country. I did not participate in these feelings. To me, the walls of a dungeon or a palace were alike hateful. The cup of life was poisoned forever, and although the sun shone upon me as upon the happy and gay of heart, I saw around me nothing but a dense and frightful darkness, penetrated by no light, but the glimmer of two eyes that glared upon me. Sometimes they were the expressive eyes of Henry, languishing in death, languishing in death, languishing in death. The dark orbs nearly covered by the lids, and the long black lashes that fringe them. Sometimes it was the watery, clouded eyes of the monster, as I first saw them in my chamber. English loud.
Do. My
I'm eating
turn.
cashews. I kind of flubbed it.
Yeah, I heard that cashew mouth.
Cashew
Welcome in,
crunch.
Madam Guillotine. Also, thank you for
Madam
the follow earlier. I
Hi.
said it in the chat, but thank you for the follow earlier, Midnight Strider.
Midnight. Hey. He's good people. He's funny people. But he's good people
Funny
too.
people. I mean,
Funny.
we're funny people.
This is true. This is also true.
Are you good? Yes. You're both good. I think.
Ah.
Nobody's saying anything. Maybe you're secretly evil. I don't know.
Me?
Yeah? I don't know. Are you, though? Are you?
I think I'm good. I mean, I feel like it's also a debate. It's from my perspective, I'm good, but I'm sure from someone
From my
else's
perspective, you're
like,
good. Mauricio,
Yeah,
from your
I'm sure
perspective, is Baljeet good? Are you
Yeah.
still eating cashews? What?
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
From the cashew's perspective, are we evil?
From the cashew's perspective, who's to say, right? Can the cashew communicate in a tangible language for us to know
No.
the morality of our goodness?
Once the
Who's to
cashew
say?
falls from the tree, can it any longer perceive?
From what I've seen, we're all bad in someone's story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. But I feel like I'm good.
Yeah,
But
I can attest to that.
It's all good. It's all good. All good. All right. That was a
I pay my
tangent here.
taxes.
My father tried to awaken me in the feelings of affection. He talked of Geneva, which I should visit soon. Of Elizabeth and of Ernest. But these words only drew deep groans from me. Sometimes indeed I felt a wish for happiness and thought, with melancholy delight, of devouring malady du pays. Oh, that's some French.
Maladie du pain.
Malady du pays.
Maladie du pays.
Okay, no, you don't understand. I lagged out for a second, and
Yeah.
you stopped reading for me, and then all of that with a devouring maladie du pays was just like faster than normal. It just kind of like caught up. So it was just like with devouring maladie du pays. I was like, what the heck?
Oh,
So,
I
like,
see.
The funny thing
Yeah,
is, like,
caught
that's
up.
how it would probably sound if a native French speaker was saying it. 'cause-
Melody
It was
du
like
pays.
so fast. I was like, what just happened?
Madam says she's bad, but you know, that's a lie, so
What?
yeah.
What?
Who's
That's
this?
Sometimes indeed I felt a wish for happiness and thought with melancholy delight of my beloved cousin, or longed with a devouring melody du pays to see once more the blue lake and rapid Rhone that had been so dear to me in my childhood.
You read that fast, didn't you? Like purposely.
Yeah, I
that
did.
Time.
Yeah.
That's
But my
exactly how
general
it
state of
sounded the
feeling
first
was a
time.
torpor in which a prison was as welcome as residence. As the divinest scene in nature, and these fits were seldom interrupted, but the paroxysms of anguish and despair. Oh, sorry. I'm like fucking up now. But
That is a
by
word.
paroxysms of
Paroxysms. That is a word.
yeah. These fits were seldom interrupted, but by paroxysms of anguish and despair. At these moments, I often endeavored to put an end to the existence I loathed, and it required unceasing attendance and vigilance to restrain me from committing some dreadful act of violence. Okay.
Paroxysms.
That paragraph did not go very well.
Wait,
Okay.
wait, now I know what paroxysms are.
It's like the feeling, the bad feelings. I don't know, like
foreboding
maladies,
kind of
like
stuff?
malady du pays, you know?
Ah. Alright.
It's like, you're suddenly, a paroxysm, according to the dictionary on Google, is a sudden attack or violent expression of a particular emotion or activity. So, like, it's like a pang of emotion.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did his dad bail him out of jail?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Apparently with evidence, too.
Okay, with evidence.
I don't know, because it said that he was bailed out on the supposition that he was on the island and not on the place where the guy was murdered. Or Clerval, yeah. He was not present at Clerval's murder. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
I
I
remember.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no, isn't it Mauricio? Oh no.
No.
It is Baljeet. Oh my god, I'm all crazy.
Malady du pays.
Malady du pays. Now I gotta look that up too.
Sickness of. Okay, I feel like Pai was island for some reason. I don't know why.
Homesickness is malady du pays.
Huh.
That's the
I'm
translation.
waiting. I'm waiting until I see that one faithful word. That one faithful word to increase the
All right.
count.
The one
I'm
that
sure
starts
it'll
with
pop up again.
COUNT.
Yeah.
COUNTENANCE. It
Good
sounds
job.
just like that. It sounds just like what was it? MICKEYMOUNC. COUNTENANCE. Countenance. Or 4. Countenance. It was at 3.
That's funny.
Alright. I'm gonna keep reading now.
I remember.
I remember. As I quitted the prison, I heard one of the men say, "He may be innocent of the murder, but he has certainly a bad conscience." These words struck me. A bad conscience? Yes. I surely had one. William, Justine, and Clerval had died through my infernal machinations. And whose death, cried I, is to finish tragedy. Goodness. I'm gonna try that again.
We're a
The
mess tonight.
machinations, the machinations of my mind are an enigma.
I thought it was machinations, but it's okay.
Patrick Star says machinations, but then again, I shouldn't be taking pronunciations from that guy.
Bro, English.
Machination.
Fuck English, alright?
Yeah, no.
Of my
Yep,
mind are
It's
an
It's a
enigma.
conglomerate, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
William, Justine, and Clerval had died through my infernal machinations. And whose death, cried I, is to finish the tragedy. Ah, my father, do not remain in this wretched country. Take me where I may forget myself, my existence, and all the world. My father easily acceded to my desire, and after having taken leave of Mr. Kerwin, we hastened to Dublin. I felt as if I was relieved from a heavy weight, when the packet sailed with a fair wind from Ireland, and I had quitted forever the country which had been to me the scene of so much misery.
You think he'd learn by now? It's just like, do what the monster says and your loved ones won't die. That's it.
Yep.
All you had to do.
Yep,
Spent 3 months in jail.
yep. Like if
He
he hadn't
didn't
just like
like
messed
his
up that
trip to
body and just did it.
Ireland.
Look, I swear. I swear to God. Victor, take accountability. God damn it.
No.
Anyways,
I
it
must
was
be
midnight. Midnight. It was midnight. My father slept in the cabin, and I lay on the deck looking at the stars and listening to the dashing of the waves. I hailed the darkness that shut Ireland from my sight, and my pulse beat with a feverish joy when I reflected that I should soon leave. When I reflected that I should soon see Geneva. The past appeared to me in the light of a frightful dream, yet the vessel in which I was, the wind that blew me from the detested shore of Ireland, and the sea which surrounded me told me too forcibly that I was deceived by no vision, and that Clerval, my friend and dearest companion, had fallen victim to me and the monster of my creation. I repassed in my memory my whole life. My quiet happiness while residing with my family in Geneva, the death of my mother, and my departure for Ingolstadt. I remembered, shuddering at the mad enthusiasm that hurried me on to the creation of my hideous enemy, and I called to mind the night during which he first lived. I was unable to pursue the train of thought. 1,000 feelings pressed upon me, and I wept bitterly.
Woo. Welcome in, Fleur. Thanks for joining us in the chat.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
We're getting so many people.
Oh my god.
Welcome to
Everyone
welcome
wants to
to
hear us
welcome
read
to
and stumble over the words.
Yay!
Ever since my recovery from the fever, I had been in the custom of taking every night a small quantity of laudanum. That's it, laudanum. For it was by means of this drug that I was enabled to gain the rest necessary for the preservation of life. Oppressed by the recollection of my various misfortunes, I now took a double dose, and soon slept profoundly. But sleep did not afford me respite from the thought and misery. My dreams presented 1,000 objects that scared me. Melatonin dreams, am I right?
Fuck it, I just looked up what laudanum is, and it's opiate. It's an opioid.
yeah, that sounds right.
He double dosed on an opioid, and he's just like, I'm out. That's it. Me too, Victor. Me too.
Towards morning, I was possessed by a kind of nightmare. I felt the fiend's grasp in my neck and could not free myself from it. Groans and cries rung in my ears. My father, who was watching over and perceiving my restlessness, awoke me and pointed to the port of Holyhead. We were now entering. Chapter 5.
That was a long chapter. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We had
was a really
some
long
interruptions.
No, that was a really long chapter.
Yeah, that too. Ta-da, chapter 5.
All right.
Yawning.
So, any
Yawning
reflections?
currently.
My reflection is not necessarily with the text, but with the cashews. I may need to get.
I'm hungry now too. I want a little snack.
I might grab
Almost
a
dinner
slice of
time for
pizza.
me.
Yeah,
Is it?
I think.
I might grab a slice of pizza, either middle of the chapter or like after the chapter, depending on how we're doing.
I have pizza to heat up too.
Pizza
Fudge, do you have pizza to
Yes.
heat up too?
I had pizza yesterday.
Oh my god, that means
Yesterday.
you might have leftover pizza.
Well, that's what it was. Like, that was the
Oh.
leftover pizza. I had it this
Oh my-
morning at like 3 a.m. I was like, I'm hungry.
Got
Oh
it.
boy, 3 a.m.
Oh, exactly.
Oh boy, 3 a.m. Time for my mandatory pizza.
Oh man.
I mean, that's like so like, Khan, right? Baljeet.
Huh?
Sarkhan. You know Sarkhan, right?
Yeah, I know Colin. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing this thing now where he's doing like the medieval, like peasant schedule where it's like, you wake up in the middle of the night
Oh.
and then
no.
go back to sleep, right?
No.
Yeah, it's a good thing. No, like you do some stuff at night and then you go back to sleep. That's a good
I
thing.
mean, if you're-
like that.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
guess
a
if
that was
your
like a
body
normal
works
thing.
with it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm hungry too, Fleur. I want pizza now too. Anyways, it just reminded me of that, where it's like, I wonder if like people back then like had a meal in the middle of the night and then just went to bed.
Ye old fourth meal.
Ye old pizza. Ye old 3 a.m. pizza.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's work through our hunger and start this chapter.
All right. Chapter 5. We had resolved not to go to London, but to cross the country to Portsmouth, and thence to embark for Havre.
Havre.
Havre. I preferred this plan principally because I dreaded to see again those places in which I enjoyed a few moments of tranquility with my beloved Clerval. I thought with horror of seeing again those persons whom we had been accustomed to visit together, and who might make inquiries concerning an event, the very remembrance of which made me again feel the pang I endured when I gazed on his lifeless form in the inn at blank.
Oh, whatever. It's the two double.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, is there like a
We
version of
don't
this that
know
has
the
that information
Irish
filled in?
version. No. We don't know the Irish town that he was talking about. Because like
I'm looking
earlier,
at my-
also like the dates and stuff, like we don't know what the year is, 17 something.
Makes me wonder, because I know this was like written down as a from like the stories they discussed on that trip. And so I wonder if this like manuscript or whatever it was that she had originally presented just didn't have that filled in at the time.
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
still was just published
I
like,
don't,
in
I
the same
just
manner.
don't think she added a name on purpose.
Yeah.
On the
I think maybe he just didn't want to remember.
Yeah.
on the version that I have, the 1832 version,
hmm
it says that they landed in Paris.
But
So it says his
that's
life formed
that's not where the
in
murder
Paris?
takes place.
That's the difference.
What?
Oh, that's like a whole different country.
Yeah, it's a whole weird. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Oh no,
How
okay,
can-
they just no, never mind. Hold on,
No.
give me a second.
I could see it would make sense with years. I mean, if he's trying to recollect something, and it's like, oh, it was back in like I know for me, I could say it was back in 1990 something. So I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that he's.
I
just
feel like
hard having- I don't know.
my reasoning for this is that like he just doesn't want to remember the horrible place that his friend died.
Right.
That's my reasoning. But
I mean, that makes sense for this too.
yeah. Or like for fear that like, you know, I don't know, something evil's dwelling. I don't know. Do we have a concrete answer? I think.
I'm going through it. Hold on.
Okay. We're gonna wait.
We're gonna wait and speculate.
Or would you like me to continue reading in your stead?
No, it's okay. It's my turn.
Uh-huh.
As for my father, his desires and exertions were bound again seeing me restored to health and peace of mind. His tenderness and attentions were unremitting. My grief and gloom was obstinate, but he would not despair. Sometimes he thought that I felt deeply the degradation of being obliged to answer a charge of murder, and he endeavored to prove to me the futility of pride. Alas, my father, said I, how little do you know me? Human beings, their feelings and passions, would indeed be degraded if such a wretch as I felt pride. Justine, poor unhappy Justine, was as innocent as I, and she suffered the same charge. She died for it, and I am the cause of this. I murdered her. William, Justine, and Henry, they all died by my hands. Ooh, winter sale on now. Steam. Steam sales. I
Wait,
just
so
got a
funny.
notification.
Everybody
Oh, I was-
wishlist
I was-
Riven on Steam right now.
I was just very
It's coming
confused
out
when that
soon.
popped up. I was like, was this like on the side screen or did this like pop up in the middle of the text?
Hashtag sponsored winter sale.
Just during my reading, just like the lower right-hand
Get
corner.
all
just
3
popped up.
Baldur's Gate games right now. Be just like me. Play through Baldur's Gate 1. It's fun. But then also mod in the original, like, CGs. They're cool. My father had often, during my imprisonment, heard me make the same assertion. When I thus accused myself, he sometimes seemed to desire an explanation, and at others he appeared to consider it as caused by my delirium. And that, during my illness, some idea of this kind had presented itself to my imagination, the remembrance of which I preserved in my convalescence. Not countenance.
Yeah,
I
that was-
avoided explanation and maintained a continual silence concerning the wretch I had created. I had a feeling that I should be supposed mad, and this forever chained my tongue. And I would have given the whole world to have confided the fatal secret.
Okay, I
Upon
just
this-
remembered something.
Mm-hmm.
And this has nothing to do with this, okay? Just I was thinking about, video game sales and whatnot. And the other day I discovered something. I was looking for something in my game drawer. Because I have a drawer and it has all my games like sorted
Yeah.
by system.
Like
And
fake
I
diamond,
kinda,
pearl. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I kind of just glanced at the cases before I shut it, and I was just like, I'm not delirious. I read that right. And I opened my drawer back up, and I was like, that says Metroid Prime Remastered. When did I buy this?
Like a physical copy?
Like the physical copy, I was like,
Oh wow.
when did I buy this? I don't remember buying it.
Good for you. It's a great game.
I know. I was like, so. Just I don't know why I just went to that, but I thought it was a funny story to tell. Like I just kind of like went, I don't remember buying this.
Right.
I'm like, awesome, good for me that I have
Yeah.
it, but like,
Pleasant.
when did I spend the money?
Pleasant. Also reminding me that I've like been avoiding playing Metroid Prime 2 on stream because it's so fucking hard.
And there's me. Never played a Metroid game.
All right, well, you know what to do.
I
Yeah,
know. I got
they're
got
Try
a
one.
lot of catching up to do.
They're fun.
Hmm.
Technically,
It's a
Metroid Dread
side-scroller,
was my
right?
first one. Yeah.
I've been thinking about revisiting Hollow Knight as well.
Yes.
You know what? So have I.
Yeah. But if you like Hollow Knight, Balji, definitely get Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like Hollow Knight for like the soundtrack and the art style too. So I mean, there's that aspect of it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and take over from upon this occasion.
Yes, because we're gonna get bogged down in this. Not that it's a bad thing, but just
We're chilling.
got stuff to do. Yeah, we're chilling. Upon this occasion, my father said, with an expression of unbounded wonder, "What do you mean, Victor? Are you mad? My dear son, I entreat you never to make such an assertion again." "I am not mad," I cried energetically. "The sun and the heavens who have viewed my operations can bear witness of my truth. I am the assassin of those innocent victims. They died by my machinations. 1,000 times would I have shed my own blood, drop by drop, to have saved their lives, but I could not. My father, indeed, I could not sacrifice the whole human race."
We're gonna have to start a machinations counter too.
Yeah. So hold on, how many times is that? 3? 2?
I don't know.
3. I think it's 3.
Okay.
It's 3.
All right, 3. Machinations at 3. So far since chapter 4, I think Countenance is at 5.
Oh, wait, Countenance is still at 4.
Is that a 4? Oh, okay, I thought I had counted one more.
No, because earlier I was like, that was almost countenance, but it was convalescence.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
There, machinations. Okay. The conclusion of this speech convinced my father that my ideas were deranged, and he instantly changed the subject of our conversation and endeavored to alter the course of my thoughts. He wished as much as possible to obliterate the memory of the scenes that had taken place in Ireland and never alluded to them or suffered me to speak of my misfortunes. As time passed away, I became more calm. Misery had her dwelling in my heart, but I no longer talked in the same incoherent manner of my own crimes. Sufficient, Beethoven. A lot of Beethoven. Sufficient for me was the consciousness of them. By the utmost self-violence, I curbed the imperious voice of wretchedness, which sometimes desired to declare itself to the whole world, and my manners were calmer and more composed than they had ever been since my journey to the Sea of Ice.
Is
We
Moonlight Sonata
arrived
also
at Havre.
Beethoven? Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Is it
this one's
Moonlight
for,
Sonata?
this is for
That's-
Elise. No, also, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moonlight Sonata is also, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We arrived at Havre on the 8th of May and instantly proceeded to Paris. Okay, never mind. They just cut that whole part off in the
In the revision?
1832 version. In the revision, yeah. And instantly proceeded to Paris, where my father had some business which detained us a few weeks. In this city, I received the following letter from Elizabeth. Not letter.
Yeah.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Sparrows.
What are some vocal warm-ups you do?
Sparrows.
Oh, so we've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
You sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock.
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled
What
peppers.
to do to die today at a minute or two to do? A distinctly difficult thing to say, but harder still to do.
Let's see. Topeka bodega, bodega Topeka. Topeka bodega, bodega Topeka.
Okay.
It's hot in Topeka.
You gotta read this letter.
I'm a Topeka.
You're hot Topeka.
Oh my god. So many markers I cannot make this stream. I wish Twitch would figure this shit out so I could, like, make a marker so I could clip all these moments.
Well, that's like. So that reminded me of something. So there's someone I follow that has a their model looks just like one of the characters from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
That's cute.
What's their name? Evil Little Lad.
Oh, I think I know that
Yeah, but their model is so cool because it looks just like something out of that show.
name.
But
Okay.
yeah, hot
Let's-
Topeka.
Let's read the letter. To Victor Frankenstein, my dearest friend, it gave me the greatest pleasure to receive a letter from my uncle dated at Paris. You are no longer at a formidable distance, and I may hope to see you in less than a fortnight. My poor cousin, how much you have suffered. I expect to see you looking even more ill than when you quitted Geneva. This winter has been passed most miserably, tortured as I have been by anxious suspense. Yet I hope to see peace in your countenance, and to find that
That's
your
fine.
heart is not totally devoid of comfort and tranquility.
Yet I fear that the same feelings now exist that made you so miserable a year ago, even perhaps augmented by time. I would not disturb you at this period, when so many misfortunes weigh upon you, but a conversation that I had with my uncle previous to his departure renders some explanation necessary before we meet. Explanation.
Sorry,
Can we
no.
possibly say?
Fudge put something in my chat.
Oh no, what is it?
Elizabeth wants Victor's C. Countenance, that is.
Show us the
Yeah.
countenance.
Hey, look, it's growing by the chapter, so.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Alright, so. Explanation, you may possibly say. What can Elizabeth have to explain? If you really say this, my questions are answered, and I have no more to do than to sign myself your affectionate cousin. But you are distant from me, and it is possible that you may dread and yet be pleased with this explanation. And, in a probability of this being the case, I dare not any longer postpone writing what, during your absence, I have often wished to express to you, but have never had the courage to begin. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right, Fudge.
Alright, here we go. Alright. You will know, Victor, that our union had been the favorite plan of your parents ever since our infancy. We were told this. We were told this when young and taught to look forward to it as an event that would certainly take place. We were affectionate playfellows during childhood, and I believe dear and valued friends to one another as we grew older. But as brother and sister often entertain a lively affection towards each other without desiring a more intimate union, may not such also be our case? Tell me, dearest Victor, answer me, I conjure you, by our mutual happiness with simple truth. Do you not love another?
You have traveled. You have spent several years of your life at Ingolstadt. And I confess to you, my friend, that when I saw you last autumn so unhappy, flying to solitude from the society of every creature, I could not help supposing that you might regret our connection, and believe yourself bound in honor to fulfill the wishes of your parents, although they oppose themselves to your inclinations. But this is false reasoning. I confess to you, my cousin, that I love you, and that in my airy dreams of futurity, you have been my constant friend and companion. But it is your happiness I desire as well as my own when I declare to you that our marriage would render me eternally miserable unless it were the dictate of your own free choice. Even now I think to weep that, borne down as you are by the cruelest misfortunes, you may stifle by the word honor all hope of that love and happiness which would alone restore you to yourself. I, who have so interested an affection for you, may increase your miseries tenfold by being an obstacle to your wishes. Ah, Victor, be assured that your cousin and playmate has too sincere a love for you to not be made miserable by this supposition. Be happy, my friend, and if you obey me in this one request, remain satisfied that nothing on earth will have the power to interrupt my tranquility. Damn.
Do not.
She's really laying it on thick.
Yeah.
That countenance.
Yeah. At least she's being honest about it and, like, not trying to hold him back.
That cousinly countenance.
Cousinly countenance.
Oh, man. Do not let this letter disturb you. Do not answer it tomorrow, or the next day, or even until you come. If it will give you... Dang it, Fudge! Okay, I'm gonna read that part again. Okay. Do not answer it tomorrow or the next day or even until you come, if it will give you pain. My uncle will send me news of your health, and if I see but one smile on your lips when we meet, occasioned by this or any other exertion of mine, I shall need no other happiness. Elizabeth Lavenza. Geneva, May 18th, 17-something.
It made me laugh more the second time you read it, though.
Did I?
I straight up had to mute my mic. You're just like, I have to read that again. I'm like, I can't. I have to mute.
Were you howling?
Because the second, if it would
Do
give
not
you pain,
answer tomorrow or the next day, or even until you come, if it will give you pain.
Pain. Oh man. I'm gonna read this next paragraph too because that was a short one.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My cheeks hurt. my face cheeks, that is.
Thank you for specifying. This letter revived
smiling.
my memory. This
Good out
letter
of
revived in my
context.
memory. Okay. I had to pause for a second. I was like, it's still gonna say something else.
I can't. There's nothing else to say.
Okay.
I'm just grinning.
Okay. This letter revived in my memory what I had before forgotten. The threat of the fiend. I will be with you on your wedding night. Such was my sentence, and on that night would the demon employ every art to destroy me and tear me from the glimpse of happiness which promised partly to console my sufferings. On that night he had determined to consummate his crimes by my death. Well, be it so. A deadly struggle would then assuredly take place, in which if he was victorious, I should be at peace, and his power over me be at an end. If he were vanquished, I should be a free man. Alas, what freedom! Such as the peasant enjoys when his family have been massacred before his eyes, his cottage burnt, his lands laid to waste, and he is turned adrift, homeless, penniless, and alone, but free. Such would be my liberty, except that in my Elizabeth I possessed a treasure. Alas, balanced by those horrors of remorse and guilt, which would pursue me until death.
Sweet and beloved Elizabeth, I read and reread her letter, and some softened feeling stole into my heart, and I dared it to whisper,
Paradisiacal? Paradisiacal.
paradisiacal, paradisiacal,
Paradisiacal.
paradisiacal,
Paradisical. Paradisical.
paradisiacal, whisper
Yes.
paradisical dreams of love.
Get that from your
joy.
ice cream man.
Oh, Jesus
It's a bicycle made out of
Christ.
dice.
Paradisical.
Dude, that'd be a
Dice
great
for
name
wheels.
for an ice cream, though.
Yeah,
Par-
paradisical.
Yeah.
Dreams of love and joy, but the apple was already eaten, and the angel's arm bared to drive me from all hope. Yet I would die to make her happy. If the monster executed his threat, death was inevitable. Yet again, I considered whether my marriage would hasten my fate. My destruction might indeed arrive a few months sooner. But if my torturer should suspect that I postponed it, influenced by his menaces, he would surely find other and perhaps more dreadful means of revenge. He had vowed to be with me on my wedding night, yet he did not consider that threat as binding him to peace in the meantime. For, as if to shew me that he was not yet satiated with blood, he had murdered Clerval immediately after the enunciation of his threats. I resolved, therefore, that if my immediate union with my cousin would conduce either to hers or my father's happiness, my adversary's design against my life should not retard it a single hour. Don't mind me while I, tried to embody William Shatner energy while I'm reading this.
I can do that. I can do that easily for this next one.
This state of mind.
In this state of mind, I wrote to Elizabeth. My letter was calm and affectionate. I fear, my beloved girl, I said. I'm not going to do it anymore. Little happiness remains for us on earth. Yet all that I may one day enjoy is concentrated. Shut up. In this state of mind, I wrote to Elizabeth. My letter was calm and affectionate. I fear, my beloved girl, I said. Little happiness remains for us on earth, yet all that I may one day enjoy is concerted. Shit, dude. Concentered.
Concentered? Yeah.
Bro, it's concentered on you!
You alone consecrate my life. It's concentered, consecrate, and then contentment.
And then don't forget countenance.
Chase away your idle fears. To you alone I do consecrate my life, and my endeavors for contentment. I have one secret, Elizabeth, a dreadful one. When revealed to you, it will chill your frame with horror. And then, far from being surprised at my misery, you will only wonder that I survive what I have endured. I will confide this tale of misery and terror to you the day after our marriage shall take place. For, my sweet cousin, there must be perfect confidence between us. But until then I conjure you, do not mention or allude to it. This I most earnestly entreat, and I know you will comply.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you until after we're married, as to not get...
He has a low,
First I'm gonna take your
first.
countenance. Then we're gonna talk.
We're gonna take each other's countenance.
Yeah.
I feel like it was intentional to put all those different con words in there. There were so many of them.
Concentered. Consecrate. Contentment.
Confide.
Confide.
Confidence.
Cousin. Confidence. Conjure.
Conjure.
Comply.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
Yeah, okay. In about a week after the arrival of Elizabeth's letter, we returned to Geneva. Goodness, I have not read that the wrong way this whole entire time. I'm gonna try that again. In about a week after the arrival of Elizabeth's letter, we returned to Geneva. My cousin welcomed me with warm affection, yet tears were in her eyes, as she beheld my emaciated frame and feverish cheeks. I saw a change in her also. She was thinner, and had lost much of that heavenly vivacity that had before charmed her, that had before charmed me, but her gentleness and soft looks of compassion made her a more fit companion for one blasted and miserable as I was. The tranquility which I now enjoyed did not endure. Memory brought madness with it, and when I thought on what had passed, a real insanity possessed me. Sometimes I was furious and burnt with rage. Sometimes I was low and despondent. I neither spoke or looked, but sat motionless, bewildered by the multitude of miseries that overcame me.
Elizabeth alone had the power to draw me from these fits. Her gentle voice would soothe me when transported by passion, and inspire me with human feelings when sunk in torpor. She wept with me and for me. When reason returned, she would remonstrate and endeavor to inspire me with resignation. It is well for the unfortunate to be resigned, but for the guilty there is no peace. The agonies of remorse poison the luxury there is otherwise sometimes found in indulging the excess of grief. Soon after my arrival, my father spoke of my immediate marriage to my cousin. I remained silent.
Have you then
I feel like
some other... Yes?
sorry. I feel like that was intentional again. There was a lot of RE words that time.
Well, she's just good at English, and we're not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair point.
Yeah. I like the alliteration and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. And I wish I could write like that. I think I could. If my countenance demands it. I don't know if I'm using that right.
I mean, I believed it.
Okay. maybe I can, right? I just gotta work up the confidence. Have you then some other attachment? None on earth. I love Elizabeth, and look forward to our union with delight. Let the day therefore be fixed, and on it I will consecrate myself in life or death to the happiness of my cousin. My dear Victor, do not speak thus. Heavy misfortunes have befallen us. But let us cling only closer to what remains, and transfer our love to those whom we have lost, to those who yet live. Our circle will be small, but bound close by the ties of affection and mutual misfortune. And when time shall have softened your despair, new and dear objects of care will be born to replace those of whom we have been so cruelly deprived.
Were the lessons of my father, but to me the remembrance of the threat returned. Nor can you wonder that, omnipotent as the fiend had yet been in his deeds of blood, I should almost regard him as invincible, and that when he had pronounced the words, "I shall be with you on your wedding night," I shall regard the threatened fate as unavoidable. But death was no evil to me, if the loss of Elizabeth were balanced with it, and I therefore, with a contented and even cheerful countenance. Six.
What?
Six. All right.
What did you say?
Victor C.
But death was no evil to me if the loss of Elizabeth were balanced with it, and I therefore was a contented and even cheerful countenance agreed with my father, and that if my cousin would consent, the ceremony should take place in 10 days, and thus put, as I imagined, the seal to my fate. Turn the page.
Scott. No. Good God. If for one instant I had thought what might be the hellish intention of my fiendish adversary, I would rather have banished myself forever from my native country and wandered a friendless outcast over the earth, than have consented to this miserable marriage. Wow. Very nice fucking outlook, Victor.
Wow.
But as if
Hooked
possessed
up with the old ball and chain, huh?
But as if possessed of magic powers, the monster had blinded me to his real intentions. And when I thought that I prepared my own death, I hastened that of a far dearer victim. As the period fixed on our marriage drew near, whether from cowardice or prophetic feeling, I felt my heart sink within me, but I concealed my feelings by an appearance of hilarity that brought smiles. What? that that brought smiles and joy to the countenance of my father.
I don't know if anyone on stream could hear what I said.
Only deceived he ever
What did you
watched.
say? What did you say?
Yeah, I heard the little something, but I don't.
I just said, here it comes.
Yeah, I said hilarity, and I heard you say something, and I was like, "What's happening? What?" That brought smiles and joy to the countenance of my father, but hardly deceived the ever watchful and nicer eye of Elizabeth. She looked forward to our union with placid contentment, not unmingled with the little fear which past misfortunes had impressed. That what now appeared certain and tangible happiness might soon dissipate into an airy dream and leave no trace but deep and everlasting regret.
Preparations were made for the event. Congratulatory visits were received, and all wore a smiling appearance. I shut up as well as I could in my own heart the anxiety that preyed there, and entered with seeming earnestness into the plans of my father, although they might only serve as the decorations of my tragedy. A house was purchased for us near Colony. A house was purchased for us near Colony, by which we should enjoy the pleasures of the country, and yet be so near Geneva as to see my father every day, who would still reside within the walls, for the benefit of Ernest, that he might follow his studies at the schools.
In the meantime, I took every precaution to defend my person, in case the fiend should openly attack me. I carried pistols and a dagger constantly about me, and was ever on the watch to prevent artifice, and by these means gained a greater degree of tranquility. Indeed, as the period approached, the threat appeared more as a delusion, not to be regarded as worthy to disturb my peace, while the happiness I hoped for in my marriage... Happiness I had hoped for in my marriage... I just clicked the down and up button at the same time.
Wow,
One
that's
last
talent.
time. While the happiness I hoped for in my marriage were a greater appearance of certainty, as the day fixed for its solemnization drew nearer, and I heard it continually spoken of as an occurrence which no accident could possibly ever prevent. Why am I adding words in there? Which no accident could possibly prevent.
It's so much fun to add words.
It's just like like brain's just like doing its own thing.
I had Hamilton running in my head when he talked about carrying a pistol and a dagger on him constantly.
Oh, it's
I was
D&D
like,
popped in my
why?
head when he was talking about that.
I was like, why do you write while you're running out of time? You know, that kind of thing.
Ah, yeah.
But that song is about the Federalist Papers.
I don't know.
Defending the Constitution of the United States and whatnot.
I just feel like, I don't know. Hamilton's
this
probably
was about
carrying around
fiendish
his
papers.
pistols all the time too, you know? People thinking he's a little shitbag. I don't know.
Elizabeth seemed happy. My tranquil demeanor
Elizabeth seemed happy.
contributed
Start over.
greatly to the calm of her
Start over.
mind. I don't know why I was switching up the N and the M. Like
I don't know
my
either.
mouth just.
Just go back. Breathe deep.
Elizabeth seemed happy. My tranquil demeanor contributed greatly to calm her mind. But on the day that was to fulfill my wishes and my destiny, she was melancholy, and a presentiment of evil pervaded her. And perhaps also she thought of the dreadful secret which I had promised to reveal to her the following day. I'm sorry, Elizabeth, I like men.
I loved Henry.
I loved
Yeah.
Henry. I don't know. Maybe that's why
I
she
think
was sent
so.
a letter. She's like, well, "Do you love another?" Like,
I'm
is that
pretty
what you went
sure.
off?
Yeah, I feel like that's
No,
the
just look at that,
implication,
yeah.
to be honest.
Okay.
So be read that way.
I don't know. This does have to deal with a lot of prejudices. I don't know.
It's true.
My
Also,
father.
it was a radical piece of literature at the time it was
My-
published, and then she had to revise it because she had made it less radical. So what's that about? What's that about?
What?
Okay.
Father. my, my,
We're having too much fun tonight.
my father.
It's
No such thing as too much fun. My father was, in the meantime, overjoyed. Man, he's taking off the joy. And, in the bustle of preparation, only observed in the melancholy of his niece to be the diffidence of the bride.
Yeah.
Of a bride. After the ceremony was performed, a large party assembled at my father's, but it was agreed that Elizabeth and I should pass the afternoon and night at Evian and return to Coligny. Coligny. Are we
Coligny?
pronouncing the G? Coligny.
Caloni?
Colony.
Calon?
Coligny.
Calon?
Coligny. The next morning, as the day was fair and the wind favorable, we resolved to go by water.
I'm getting hungry.
Me too.
We gotta- I think we should finish this chapter and finish the night.
I think so.
Yeah. Those were the last moments of my life during which I enjoyed the feeling of happiness. We passed rapidly along. The sun was hot, but we were sheltered from its rays by a kind of canopy. While we enjoyed the beauty of the scene, sometimes on one side of the lake, where we saw Mont Saleve, the pleasant banks of Montalegre, and at a distance, surmounting all, the beautiful Mont Blanc, and the assemblage of snowy mountains that in vain endeavor to emulate her. Sometimes, coasting the opposite banks, we saw the mighty Jura, opposing its dark side to the ambition that would quit its native country, and an almost insurmountable barrier to the invader who should wish to enslave it.
Who should wish to visit it.
I took the hand of Elizabeth. You are sorrowful, my love. Ah, if you knew what I have suffered, and what I may yet endure, you would endeavor to let me taste the quiet and freedom from despair that this one day at least permits me to enjoy. Be happy, my dear Victor, replied Elizabeth. There is, I hope, nothing to distress you, and be assured that if a lively joy is not painted in my face, my heart is contented. Something whispers to me not to depend too much on the prospect that is open before us, but I will not listen to such a sinister voice. Observe how fast we move along, and how the clouds which sometimes obscure and sometimes rise above the dome of Mont Blanc render the scene of beauty still more interesting. Look also at the innumerable fish that are swimming in the clear waters. Where can we distinguish every pebble that lies at the bottom? What a divine day! How happy and serene all nature appears!
Thus, Elizabeth endured to divert her thoughts and mind from all reflection upon melancholy subjects, but her temper was fluctuating. Joy, for a few instants, shone in her eyes, but it continuously gave place to distraction and reverie. The sun sunk lower in the heavens. We passed the river Drance and observed its path through the chasms of the higher and the glens of the lower hills. The Alps here come closer to the lake, and we approached the amphitheater of mountains which forms its eastern boundary. The spire of Evian shone under the woods that surrounded it, and the range of mountain above mountain which the spire of Evian shone under the woods that surrounded it, and the range of mountain above mountain by which it was overhung.
That's why you're getting so uppity. It's like we're close to the end of this chapter. We're gonna eat. Blah, blah, blah.
Alright, I'm just gonna finish it.
No, I'm gonna finish it. The wind, which had hitherto carried us along with amazing rapidity, sunk at sunset to a light breeze. The soft air just ruffled the water and caused a pleasant motion among the trees as we approached the shore, from which it wafted the most delightful scent of flowers and hay. The sun sunk beneath the horizon as we landed, and as I touched the shore, I felt those cares and fears revive, which soon were to clasp me and cling to me forever. Chapter 6. Yeah, but I was the best, so. How many chapters do we have left?
4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We
Okay,
have 4
yeah,
chapters left.
let's definitely leave it then. Oh man, this was really fun 2 hours.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it's fun.
I think this was the most fun we've had on stream so far.
Oh.
Alright, let me put a bookmark in it. Woo boy. Alright, Balji,
Well,
you're
really-
gonna get the raid here.
But really, What really would have sent it home is if that last paragraph had the word countenance in it.
That last one. It's like, oh, here it comes.
Goodness.
Alright. Sending you over Ball Jeets here for some more gaming. What is the game? Is it gonna be Pokemon?
It's gonna be Pokemon. I'm gonna get a slice of pizza. But y'all
I'm
can
gonna
come
get a
on
slice
in.
of pizza too.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I heard in this new
Pokemon.
DLC you can become and control a Pokemon.
I can become a what? Ooh.
You didn't know that.
I didn't. There's a lot of things I didn't know, but that's okay.
I've been seeing videos on it where it's just like someone's like an Oshawott and controlling the Oshawott.
I
And it
am
just-
the Oshawott.
Exactly, just have them waddle around. Funny.
That
Alright.
sounds
And
incredible.
goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice night. Happy holidays. I don't know if I'm going to stream before the holiday season ends, but
Happy holidays.
happy holidays.
My nuts roasting on an open fire.
What the fuck?
My countenance roasting on an open fire.
Wait, why did I click on this?
I don't know. Can't tell you the reason why you do things.
Oh my goodness. My Switch is being dumb.
Alright.
Um,
Well, rating now. See y'all later.
Yay.
Raid.
Raid.
Raid.